written by former State Assembly member and City Attorney-elect Mike Feuer, requires all new semi-automatic guns in California to carry micro-stamping technology.
When that takes place before the shell casing and the bullet which is housed leaves the barrel of the gun, there is a stamp, laser imprinted stamp, that is placed on that shell casing. When the shell casing falls from the gun, as the bullet goes to its intended target, that shell casing has stamped within a code that states the make, model, and serial number of the gun that fired the bullet.
Authorities hope the new measures prevent new gun crimes, as well as help solve more of those that do occur in a state where 40% of homicides go unsolved. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
DAs in California's 58 counties are cooperating with the program. The LAPD can now boast a new graduating class, but these new officers are not only ready to report for duty, they're ready to do it for free. Here again is Anna Marcos.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
12 new officers are swearing in at the LAPD Academy, but this is a special breed of rookies, volunteering their own time in the name of law and order. This is the latest graduating class of reserve officers. 10 of them will serve with the LAPD, and 2 will patrol the streets with the San Fernando Police Department.
I want to say thank you, and I also want to say thank you to these officers who have dedicated over the last 5 months 146 hours of volunteer service to go through the training course to become reserve officers.
Councilmember Richard Alarcón got to honor his own Chief of Staff, Becca Doughton, who's one of the new reserve officers. More than 650 reserve officers volunteer with the Los Angeles Police Reserve Corps, doing many of the same jobs done by full-time cops. They even receive much of the same training.
That is really the epitomizing of going above and beyond the line of duty. They do it for nothing. In the LAPD, really nothing, not even enough to fill a gas tank anymore. But they do it out of the kindness of their heart because they have the drive, they have the desire to serve their communities.
Class is now officially dismissed, and whether they're assigned to work patrol, air support, vice, or gangs, these reserve officers are now ready to walk the beat. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
2 of the 12 new reserve officers are women. A new factory supplying life-saving plasma therapies has set up shop in the community of Lincoln Heights. As Gil Reyes reports, the plant aims to inject new blood into Southern California's biotech field.
A preview of production at the new Grifols Biotech plant in Lincoln Heights. Soon, these vials will be filled with medicine to treat people like Marsha Boyle's son.
And my son and so many others like him are healthy today and productive people because of access to plasma therapies.
The plant is expected to produce 16 million grams of Gamunex C each year. That's plasma protein therapy for people with primary immune deficiencies. The company Grifols is based in Barcelona, Spain, but opens its newest 95,000 square foot plant not far from USC, UCLA, and other biotech facilities, hoping to inject new blood into a lucrative market.
And with this ribbon cutting, we're not just opening the doors of a lab, we're opening the doors to the future. This isn't just a ribbon cutting for a new biotech facility. This is a ribbon cutting for the future of Los Angeles.
Today is a great day for Grifols, but also for Los Angeles and Barcelona.
LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa says the plant is expected to support over 300 well-paying jobs, providing a shot in the arm to LA's economy. In Lincoln Heights, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Grifols invested $135 million to build the facility. The mayor's office assisted the company with moving through the permitting process. Well, it's a first for the city of Los Angeles and actually for the nation. There is now a plaza named in honor of a Central American hero that gives recognition to the contributions Central Americans have made to our city. The ribbon has been cut on the new Plaza Morazan, short for Plaza Centro Americana Francisco Morazan, the nation's first Central American plaza. The plaza, located at the intersection of West 8th and Valencia Streets, recognizes the more than 500,000 Central Americans living in Los Angeles.
It is one more effort to celebrate the metropolitan, international feel of this great city and all the contributions of Central America.
The plaza, which features a pocket park with benches and trees, is named in honor of Francisco Morazan, the first Central American president and visionary who fought to unify Central America during turbulent times after its independence from Spain. His bust is a focal point of the plaza.
Francisco Morazan probably is one of the leaders in the history of Central America, most important. He born in Honduras, and he always fight for the Central American Union. He died for that.
Los Angeles is home to the largest population of Central American immigrants outside of Central America. This plaza, Councilman Ed Reyes says, honors their culture and history.
It is now a place where our children can see the heroes of our motherlands. It's no longer just George Washington. It's no longer just Abraham Lincoln. It's also Francisco Morazan, it's Simon Bolivar, it's Emiliano Zapata, it's everyone that played a role in making our country great, our culture beautiful, but more importantly, pride in our families, pride in our parents, because of the hard work they have endured to make sure we have a great future in this great country.
A diverse population from all corners of Central America who call Los Angeles home now have a place that honors their motherland that's right in their backyards. The construction of the plaza is a joint effort of Councilmember Ed Reyes, the city's Department of Recreation and Parks, the Community Redevelopment Agency, and community groups. More progress is made on the 405 construction project. Councilman Reyes helps unveil a new traffic signal at a dangerous intersection, and the city celebrates the opening of yet another new park. These stories and more in City Beat. Another traffic lane has opened on the northbound 405 in West Los Angeles as part of a $1 billion plus improvement project that will add carpool access through the Sepulveda Pass. The 1.7-mile lane stretches between the Santa Monica Freeway and Santa Monica Boulevard and will eventually be converted into a carpool lane, but for the time being, it is open to all motorists. Metro officials said the lane will likely be stretched another 1.4 miles to Wilshire Boulevard next month.
What we are doing is building up that additional carpool lane for 10 miles, which will give you a carpool lane all the way from Orange County to I-405 at the north. So this will be the longest carpool lane pretty much in the country.
The project began in 2009 and was to be completed this year, but construction is now expected to continue through mid-2014. Councilmember Ed Reyes recently joined the Los Angeles Department of Transportation and LAPD officers at Eagle Rock Boulevard and Avenue 31 in Glassell Park to celebrate a new signal light at what used to be a busy and oftentimes dangerous intersection. The new traffic light was prompted by the high volume of pedestrian and car traffic traveling down Eagle Rock Boulevard, a main artery linking northeast LA to downtown LA. The Department of Recreation and Parks, along with Councilmember Richard Alarcon and the Los Angeles Neighborhood Land Trust, recently cut the ribbon on the 13th of 50 planned parks as part of the city's so-called 50 Parks initiative to build parks in park-poor neighborhoods. This 13th park, Fox and Laurel Park, is located at 14353 West Fox Street in San Fernando.
I've been seeing a lot of places like this open up around the communities, so I have options, either to go to one park or to the other. But it's great for the community. While
a quarter of the 50 parks are under an acre in size, they include environmental features like drought-tolerant plants and smart irrigation. The Department of Recreation and Parks, along with Councilmember Paul Koretz, recently honored the youngest woman ever elected at the age of 22 to the Los Angeles City Council by renaming the Palms Rec Center the Rosalind Wyman Rec Center. On July 1st, 2013, it will be exactly 60 years since Wyman's historic election to public office. Wyman, who was on hand for the renaming ceremony, was also instrumental in securing the financing for the acquisition and development of the rec center on Overland Avenue. Aside from building new parks, the city is also dedicated to refurbishing old parks. Anita Bennett takes us to the latest playground renovation done with the help of the LA Clippers.
These children are testing out the new basketball court at Lou Costello Recreation Center in Boyle Heights. And they're getting an assist from Blake Griffin of the LA Clippers, plus the team's dance squad. The Clippers Fit program, the California Endowment, and Kia Motors teamed up with the city of Los Angeles to refurbish the playground.
Last season, we began the program with the California Endowment to develop the Fit Campus program. We've now grown the program to incorporate additional community programs like you see here today with this wonderful park refurbishment.
City Councilman Jose Huizar thanked the Clippers, and he reminded the crowd without financial help from private companies, neighborhood projects like this wouldn't be possible.
Given the short amount of money that's coming from government these days, it's important to have the private sector's support and involvement.
We've built this, but we're depending on you to take care of the park, to use the park, and to leave it in great shape for the kids after you. So can you kids do that for us? Yes.
The kids clearly enjoyed the improvements, plus the chance to get up close with the Clippers and their dance team. I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
The Clippers Fit program is in the process of refurbishing 2 more city playgrounds. Well, here's an easy question. Who doesn't like a good pancake breakfast? On a recent Saturday, all of the city's fire stations were opened to the public. Some hosted a pancake breakfast, others a barbecue lunch. The goal, to strengthen ties between residents and their firefighters. From east to west, north to south, all 106 of the city's fire stations opened their doors to neighbors for an annual open house billed as Fire Service Recognition Day.
We see the fire trucks go by on a regular basis, and every time they have an open house, we love to come. My son loves the firehouse. The gentlemen here are just amazing.
Each fire station's open house took on the unique flavors of its surrounding community. Fire Station 63 in Venice held a pancake breakfast and wowed residents with the old fire pole slide demo.
Every year we have a pancake breakfast to honor the firefighters who put themselves in harm's way.
This station in Westchester chose to hold a barbecue.
Today we're doing a little fundraiser. We're barbecuing. It's the Santa Maria barbecue, and proceeds are going to the West Texas Fire Department. They lost their firefighters there in the explosion in the fertilizer plant. The kids can also come through here and squirt some water, and we have a jump. We ran a jump for the day so the public can come here and jump in the back of the fire station.
The Westchester Fire Station also took the opportunity to educate residents on hands-on CPR.
You saved somebody's life.
That's right, Melanie.
Real good.
Over in Watts at Fire Station 65, they held a classic car show and provided musical and dance entertainment.
The community comes out. Actually used to be a captain at Fire Station 65, old Fire Station 65, and just to see how far things have come and involving the community is a great thing.
Whether it was a community concert or a traditional pancake breakfast.
We get over 500 people for our annual pancake breakfast. What we do is we offer just an open house to the community, and we have an overwhelming response.
These open houses help strengthen the neighborly bond between residents and their firefighters. In this week's list of things to do, the city throws a big party and you don't want to miss it. A family festival at the Getty, and one neighborhood council invites you to get involved. It's the ultimate LA block party. The city of Los Angeles and Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa cordially invite you to celebrate LA on Friday, June 7th at downtown's Grand Park, which stretches from the steps of City Hall on Spring Street all the way to Grand Avenue between First and Temple. It takes place from 5 to 10 p.m. It's a free, family-friendly festival complete with musical performances by Grammy-winning artists, many surprise guests, and a special appearance by President Bill Clinton. It's also a chance for the city to bid farewell to Mayor Villaraigosa and welcome Mayor-elect Eric Garcetti. Go to CelebrateLA2013.com for the event flyer. And on Saturday, June 8th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., the J. Paul Getty Museum is holding the Getty Family Festival. The museum's family festivals offer a day of celebration and discovery inspired by exhibitions at the Getty Center. This festival on June 8th will celebrate the gardens of the Renaissance. You and your family can create a garden of your very own or fashion a floral wreath at one of the interactive workshops, or listen to tales of distant kingdoms with renowned storytellers. The Getty is located at 1200 Getty Center Drive. Go to getty.edu for details. The Westlake South Neighborhood Council is holding its first ever community outreach event on Sunday, June 9th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. The all-day community party will be held at the Bandshell at MacArthur Park, located at 2230 West 6th Street. There will be music, family entertainment, food vendors, and informational booths. But mainly, the event is meant to encourage more residents to get involved in social and political solutions by participating in the neighborhood council. For more information on the outreach event, call Manuel Olmos at 626-419-1000. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. It's an all-out effort to get kids to connect with Mother Nature. The annual Hike for Health event in LA teamed up with the National Get to Know program for a one-of-a-kind outdoor experience for some lucky middle school students. Anna Marcos takes a hike with the whole crew.
Robbie, the sanitation robot, is the first thing to greet students on this sunny day. About 300 fifth graders are joining in the 8th annual Hike for Health event at Griffith Park.
It's nice, like the little plants and the little animals. So you expect to see like rabbits and some other little creatures like lizards.
Councilmember Tom LaBonge and his office are kicking off the Hike for Health event with the Department of Recreation and Parks to give students a new appetite for nature and for staying fit through hiking.
Now they had their feet on it. They've climbed that mountain. That's an inspirational thing to do. And my hope is they would come back with their families, with their brothers and sisters to enjoy it.
They start at the Charlie Turner Trailhead near the Griffith Observatory, and they're hoofing it all the way up to the top of Mount Hollywood.
You get an entire 360 view of the city. You can see the valley. On a nice clear day, you can see out to Catalina Island.
At the top, more outdoor treats with a get-to-know program which introduces kids to the great outdoors. Some of the featured events include park ranger horses, a try at the park ranger fire hose, and one-on-one time with some of the Zoomobile's most cuddly creatures.
It got sort of cold up here, and I got to pet this, there's this baby python. It was super cute. It was awesome.
There's also a get-to-know contest where kids get to express their experiences in nature through art, writing, photography, video, and music.
Any child in Los Angeles, greater Los Angeles area, 19 and under, is welcome to enter. It's all about getting out into nature and then sharing what you did with us.
The deadline for the Get to Know contest is November 1st, but organizers remind potential nature lovers there is no deadline for enjoying the great outdoors. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Get to Know National Program aims to bring more than 10 million kids across the country into the great outdoors this year. For more information, visit get-to-know.org. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Faculty, mom, dad. Today's lesson, how to exercise with your kids and save the planet. First, you must believe. B, that your children really are the future. Second, you must do. Instead of jumping in the car, let's go for a walk, or a run, or even a bike ride. No pollution, no oil, no gas. And as long as we obey all traffic safety rules, we're cool. Lastly, you have to live. Live into our big, beautiful, healthy future. Be, do, live. Watch the road.
What's with all the zombies?
Alert LA County. It takes the surprise out of disasters like zombie attacks. And without surprise, they're out of a job.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email.
Any skills besides flesh eating? Pick that up.
Events may include disasters, evacuations, safety notices, and if necessary, zombie attacks.
Next.
Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
Hi, I'm Jim Hoggett in Mount Washington, and when I'm not reading a great murder mystery, I'm watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, we do now have a quorum, but members, you got to help me out here. Council starts at 10, not 10:22 or whatever it is now. It's at 10. With that said, it's Wednesday, June 5th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a quorum. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Haller, Kombuska, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Koretz, Corcoran, LaBonge, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zine, Wesson, 10 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Krikorian moves, Reyes seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Garcetti moves, Alarcon seconds. Next.
Mr. President, there is a request to refer item 8 back to the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. Again, that's item 8 back to the Planning and Land Use Management Committee.
Without objection, that'll be the order. Continue.
Items 1 and 2 are items noticed for public hearing. Mr. President, we do have cards on both items.
Okay, we'll hold those items. We'll also hold number 3.
And Mr. President, items 3 through 7 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for all items are forthcoming and should be held, so the items should be held on the desk.
All of the items?
Yes, sir. They're all placeholders. The CLA is in possession of 2 of those reports. I believe they are circulating them now, but Council does not have them before them for consideration.
Okay, so let's hold those items, or I will hold those items until you notify me that the proper documents have arrived in this chambers. Mr. Reyes.
Can we still call for a special, or do we have to wait till it comes to the table? Can we still call for a special? Okay.
Next. Mr. Weezer. Mr. Weezer.
Yes, 14, please. Special. Oh, it's been called.
And Mr. President, items 9 through 17 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are before us. Mr. Weezer called
14.
14 special. Yeah. Mr. Reyes, was there something in this section that you wanted to call special, or was it in the previous?
Yes, number 4.
Okay, Mr. Zine.
I'd like to have number 8 continued, please.
We did continue that, didn't we, Mr. Clerk?
We sent it back to committee, sir.
All right, that's fine.
Any more specials? Cards.
Yes, sir. We have cards on items 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 17. That leaves 15 and 16, sir.
Okay, well, let's vote on those items. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, that moves us where?
Item 18 is an item scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold it on the desk?
Is Mr. Krikorian? Okay, why don't we, item 18, can we deal with that now?
That is a settlement of a case involving LAPD, Mr. President. If members have questions, we can consider it in closed session, but if not, we recommend supporting the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Cards?
No, sir.
Let's prepare to vote on that item. That's item 18.
Yes, sir.
Do you have to make an announcement, Mr. Clerk, before we...
Yes, sir, I do. For item 18, in the case entitled Moises Fernandez and others versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $220,000 in settlement.
Okay. Let's get ready to vote, Madam Clerk. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, where does that bring us now, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings us to item 19 from the continuation agenda. It is the mayor's veto message. No action is required inasmuch as the mayor has now signed the budget and it is final.
Okay, so what do? We just receive and file this, or?
No, there's nothing to act on, sir.
Well, let's delete it from the, the agenda. Okay, that takes us back.
That takes council back to items called special or public comment for items not on council's agenda.
Okay, I think what we'll do is we didn't get the documents back on 3 through 8, right? Or have we?
Sir, I believe The CLA has distributed the reports for items 3 and 4.
Okay, let's hold that, and we'll go to item 1, which was called Special by Cards. John Walsh, item 1.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. About the time, if I'm 1 minute, 1 second, you charge me for 2 minutes. That's a violation of the law.
On the item, you can state that during general public comment. Why don't you just gag me and throw me out the window?
Okay?
Never.
HollywoodHighlands.org. You're almost as rude as Garcetti. HollywoodHighlands.org. This is number 1. Of course, you're invited to our Van Nuys party for Mr. Garcetti.
He has spent the last 25 seconds not talking about this item.
On the item.
Relative to an item. I'm reading the item, and you're telling me to get on the item. Why don't you just grab the cops and throw me out of this meeting the way the Klan used to do to black people?
I think that's
HollywoodHighlands.org.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. And Mr. Walsh, let me warn you in advance, if you try that on the next items, you will forfeit your time. Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Walsh, we're going to give you another shot on item 2. Pass. Let's vote on that. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Item 9, Mr. Arnold Sachs and John Walsh. Item 9.
And Mr. President, for clarification on item 2, that ordinance will go over for a second read unless reconsidered later with 12 members.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. It doesn't really say here the Central Traffic District, but I'm wondering if this has anything to do with the amending this ordinance for overloaded vehicles with the construction of the downtown connector. And if so, the maintenance on the streets that will be in disrepair, will that fall to Metro's concerns? Will that fall to the subcontractors' concerns? Or will that just fall to the city's concern and more use of Measure Our Local Return funds? Oh, wait, you don't have Measure Our Local Return. Well, you might have a little bit, but most of that has gone to the streetcar in downtown L.A. And
Mr. President, he is not talking about the overloaded vehicle.
I am talking about the zone. It doesn't say. I'm talking about who's responsible for the maintenance of the streets for the construction that will occur in the downtown zone. So, yes, I am talking. You know, thank you. Oh, wait, I might as well continue because I just, you know, when the city attorney interrupts like that.
No, Mr. Sachs, you speak to the item. We're giving you a stretch. I mean, this is really a stretch. I'm not going to debate it. Either you're going to speak to the item or you will not speak.
Sir, is it a stretch to say the downtown Central Traffic District? Do you have a defined borders for the Central Traffic District? It's not listed on the agenda item. So I'm considering and assuming, I know that makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm assuming that that's something dealing with construction either with the subway or with the downtown connector. If that's the case, and you're changing the ordinance to allow for overloaded trucks, that means streets will be damaged because of the overloaded trucks. And if the streets are damaged because of the overloaded trucks, does that fall to Metro? Does that fall to the city?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
Minute 2. John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. If you want to know what this is about, I'm talking to the people out there. You go 112-1634. That's the council file. It's available online. You don't have to ask them the questions. You do your homework on this. This is about one thing. It's about overloaded vehicles. Now, if you have a car and you're out there, you know they're the bane of your existence, especially in the downtown area. What this does, and I'm quoting, and if I'm wrong, you stop me. What this does is remove time restrictions for overload vehicles. So the next time you're out there and the next time there's a big truck in front of you double parked, realize because of campaign contributions given to these people, that truck will no longer be ticketed. You will, but the truck won't. That's what's happening here. It'll get 12 votes. It'll get 13 votes. There'll be no discussion. That's what it is. Read it. 1 minute.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Jan, I said 4.
Item 10, Arnold Sachs.
And Mr. President, for clarification, item 9 was an ordinance that'll go over 1 week for a second read unless reconsidered.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll have 12 before the day is out. Arnold Sachs. Pass. Okay, item 10. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Item 11, Arnold Sachs and John Walsh on item 11.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. No doubt the anti-human trafficking task force program is important, but based on previous years of getting grants, how many convictions has the city's attorneys gotten out of this task force program? Not arrests, but actual convictions. And my concern also here is account number 001090, overtime general, overtime sworn. I believe there's an understanding that the LAPD doesn't get paid overtime, that they bank overtime hours, yet you, because it's a grant, you allow overtime hours. This is an item on the agenda, Mr. City Attorney, so it would be part of the Brown Act. Maybe we could have a discussion on it. Thank you.
Mr. John Walsh.
I read the council file. This is $50,000 we're giving to a group, I have no idea who they are, Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking. You know, that used to be called, when I was a kid, white slavery. But I want everybody to know, especially African Americans, when they, in kiddie porn, I'm talking about anti-human trafficking. I want people to see, I can't talk to the camera, I have to talk to him. I want you to know that there are no black children in slavery because the market is white and Asian. Those are the people who prey on, those are the anti-human traffic, the pro-human trafficking. And the white man and the Asian man is only interested in white children, especially Slavics, and Asian children. I have no, this incidentally, this city is the capital of white slavery, which is now white and yellow slavery. We are the capital of the world on this. Will there be one statement about this? Will there anybody get up? Old man Rosendahl isn't here. Will somebody get up cops, and maybe Buscaino, you have dealt with with slavery, with anti-human trafficking. Will you get up and say it's a minor issue? It is a minor issue to these people because their children are not going to be taken off the street. We know whose children are going to be taken off the street. They won't be white West Siders' children taken off the street, and they're grabbed off the street, and they are sent to the Middle East and to East Europe where they become slaves. I want to know. I want you to talk about this. I want to know what that $50,000 is going to do in this city, the white slavery capital of the world, to stop this. No, you're not interested. You're interested in your big Friday party. You sicken me and disgust me, every one of you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, you informed me that we've received amendments or documents on items. Was it 6 and 7?
6 and 7 committee reports, sir, yes.
Okay, let's take them up together, and it's my understanding there are no cards on those items. So members, prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, don't we have an ordinance that we can vote on now that we're at 12?
Yes, sir, there are 2 of them, items 2 and 9.
Okay, so the first vote would be on reconsideration?
Yes, sir.
No cards on these items. Let's prepare to vote on reconsideration. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Now we can actually vote on the items. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's move on. Item 12, Mr. Walsh, item 12. And I've been informed you have 1 minute. Item 12.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. There are a number of new posts up today. This is a report from somebody called the Controller. Now, you're not going to speak about it because every report that Wendy ever did, you ash-canned, you threw away. If you're not going to speak about 9-year-old Hispanics being kidnapped off the streets of L.A., and paying $50,000 to someone, you're certainly not going to talk about what this is. Review of volume discounts for commodity contracts. Come on. In fact, everything the new controllers do in Galperin means nothing. Now, if we had Zine in there, maybe there would have been a shakeup. But we didn't get Zine because the white liberals didn't like him because he looks too right-wing for them. They like him. Mr. Galperin, he's a better person. We want him. He's one of us. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Garcetti. Item 3, don't you have an amendment, a verbal?
I think there's going to be something drafted right now.
Oh, okay.
So it'll come back in a second.
And that's fine. So, item 14. Mr. Weezer, you held item 14.
Yeah, if we could do public speakers first, please. Thank you.
Okay, I think I have Gilbert Saucedo. Oh, Gilbert, somebody put your last name was changed. Oh no, wait, are you Gilbert?
I'm Gilbert Saucedo, right?
Yeah.
It's been changed. They didn't tell me though.
We thought that it was supposed to be Gilbert Cedillo.
No, no. That was my previous life. Anyway, I want to congratulate. I'm Gilbert Salcedo. I'm an attorney with the National Lawyers Guild, and I practice here in LA. I want to congratulate this body for putting this resolution forward, and I want to urge you to approve resolution supporting AB 60. I think it's great public policy to allow undocumented immigrants to obtain driver's licenses. Our Chief of Police, Charlie Beck, has publicly expressed support for it. Also, our County Sheriff, Lee Baca, has also expressed support for it because it's great. It'll promote public safety, allowing people who are here, whether they're documented or not, to obtain driver's licenses, would improve the road safety by allowing people to be tested to see if they qualify for a driver's license. We have a large undocumented population in the city, and that's not going to change. We have to deal with that reality, and we may better deal with it in a common sense way rather than pretending that it's not there. So I urge you to approve this resolution, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Okay, next, Councilmember-elect Gilbert Cedillo. You've been working on these types of issues for quite some time.
Mr. President, thank you. You voted for AB 60. This council has a long record of support for this proposition, and it's a very simple proposition. It says that our highways should be safe, and that the strategy of the state of California for that has always been to make sure that every motorist is licensed, tested, and insured. It is nothing more than that, a public safety measure. And since the inception of the Department of Motor Vehicles, that was our strategy. And when we executed that strategy, we had the safest highways in America. The safest highways in America. When we began to play politics with highway safety, when we began to make the Department of Motor Vehicles an agency of collections and immigration enforcement, we lost that position. In a state where 25 million motorists take to the highways every day, in a city where millions of Angelenos take to the streets and highways every day, we must ensure that we have the safest highways and the safest streets. The tested and proven way to do that is to make sure that every motorist is licensed, then tested and insured. That is what this proposition is about. This city has a rich history in supporting it. Our police chiefs, Police Chief Bernie Parks, Police Chief Bill Bratton, and Police Chief William Beck all understand this and appreciate the importance of it. Police Chief Charlie Beck has been outspoken on this and has been a leader on this, and I commend all of them. And I commend you and ask you for your support of this public safety measure, AB 60. I thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rita Medina, Cynthia Anderson Barker, and Cliff Smith, if the three of you would please come forward.
Can I go ahead and start? My name is Rita Medina, and I'm here on behalf of Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles. CHIRLA is a strong supporter of AB 60, which seeks to ensure that our roads are safe by ensuring that all drivers, regardless of immigration status, are trained and understand the rules of the road. And for this reason, we applaud Councilman Huizar for his resolution to support AB 60. This resolution sends a strong message to Sacramento that driver's licenses should be economically fair, accessible to everyone, does not put people at risk of detention and deportation, and overall respects confidentiality of personal information. According to a report by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, car crashes rank among the leading causes of death in the United States. Previous studies done by the Foundation have found that approximately 1 in 5 fatal accidents in the United States involve an unlicensed or invalidly licensed driver. Support and eventual implementation of AB 60 would significantly reduce these figures, as all those who would be obtaining a license would have to complete the process of learning the rules of the road. Given the political climate of immigration reform at the national level, it is very important to note that AB 60 is the next critical step to ensuring that immigrants in our state will also be one step ahead and will be ready to apply for legalization using their California's driver licenses. We thank you and we urge you to vote yes on this resolution.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Anderson Barker. I'm an attorney and I work with the National Lawyers Guild. For the past 2 years, Lawyers Guild attorneys have been running volunteer legal clinics for drivers who've been stopped for driving unlicensed and they've lost their cars for 30 days. And so a change in state law and your resolution in support of that change will stop a very, very important and unjust hardship on these unlicensed drivers because they lose their cars for 30 days. So the Lawyers Guild drafted 2 reports. One report had an impact on the LAPD, and it was a report on racial profiling and pretextual stops and other violations of law during enforcement of the LAPD impound policy. The LAPD took note of our allegations around racial profiling and they changed the impound policy. Right now we're working on the BACA. The Sheriff's Department is doing the same. Racial profiling is a problem and it's caused by not having these undocumented drivers properly licensed. We've also been doing litigation on this issue up and down the state, and all our clients have been both insured and registered drivers. We've interviewed hundreds of people, all insured, all have registered cars. They just need licenses. So I'm really hopeful that you will support this important resolution and change state law. Thank you.
Would you state your name?
Good morning, Council.
Could you state your name, sir?
Good morning, Council. My name is Cliff Smith. I'm a board member for the South Central Neighborhood Council. I'm also the business manager for Roofers Local 36, representing Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. We strongly support the passages of this resolution to endorse AB 60 to provide driver's licenses to all qualified drivers. Our working families need to be able to safely drive to and from work, to take their children to school, to take their families to the supermarket without threats of reprisal, without racist attacks. We ask you to ask the state legislature to make sure that this bill gets passed quickly and to put pressure on Governor Brown to make sure that this time he signs it and puts it into law in California. Our working families need to have the opportunity to drive. Thank you very much.
Rosemary Molina, followed by Francisco Marino.
Good morning, Council. My name is Rosemary Molina, and I'm an organizer for the Clean Car Wash campaign. Thank you, Councilmember Huizar, for supporting this resolution and trying to get it passed. This is very important for our workers. We represent 10,000 workers in Los Angeles, mostly Latino, mostly undocumented. Some car wash workers drive across cities to get to work, and licenses, and more importantly, these forms of identification are necessary for our workers. There have been several instances in the past few years where workers have been cited for driving without a license or have been arrested for driving without a license. When they are arrested, they're at risk of being victims of secure communities, and as we've seen last week, some of our workers get put into deportation proceedings. Without having ID, they're also at risk of being picked up by police. We've seen that too with some of our workers. And with the citations, seeing that they only earn $3 an hour in this city for the work that they do, it's very hard for them to pay for the fines. This is really important for us, and I hope that the Council supports this resolution to support AB 60. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Molina. Now, Mr. Marino.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Francisco Moreno. In regards of the Council of Mexican Federations, we strongly agree to pass AB 60 to support this council. It's really important for our community, especially for our Mexican community that have been suffering from deportation just because they don't have a driver license. That's has been suffering for years and years, and we hope that it's time to pass this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Wizard. Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Thank you, Mr. Garcetti, and everybody to vote yes on this resolution. We hope that our community be really happy if they can have their driver license. That way they can go to work, to school, to the market without any fear to have any deportation. Thank you very much for your vote yes on AB 60. Thank you.
Maria Galvan, followed by Carlos Montes. Carlos, you here? Okay, good. Maria, please.
Good morning. My name is Maria Galvan. I'm here today representing all the mothers undocumented in California. We need the driver license to drive security, and we need to, the driver license is a necessity for us to get the children out of school, to get buy groceries, to get our jobs. We need your support for the driver license. Thank you all. And if we can have the driver license, is going to be make the difference for us, driver security, and you can know who is driving outside on streets because you can have all records, and it's safe for a community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Carlos Montes. I'm a member of the steering committee of the Southern California Immigration Coalition. But last year, I was also elected to the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council. I chair the Transportation Environment Committee, and the Transportation Environment Committee 2 months ago passed a resolution to support the California driver's license bill for undocumented workers. And we're happy to announce that the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council at its May meeting did pass a resolution, a long resolution, 2-page, that we forwarded to the City Council. So I'm sure you all have it. And I also want to, supporting the California driver's license bill, I want to thank our Councilman Jose Huizar and Ed Reyes for introducing this motion. Of course, I come here to speak in favor. My experience has been that in our community of Boyle Heights, including all of LA, in poor working class, primarily Mexican, Central American communities are victims of racial profiling. Last year, I'll give you the example of at 10 o'clock in the morning on Chavez and Cummings Street, where the LAPD would do what they call a traffic saturation patrol, ended up being a car confiscation patrol, where we had dozens and dozens of families who were shopping in the Chavez area, and they were stopped, and since they didn't have license, they were forced to turn their cars over. Now, that has been stopped due to the change in policy by Chief Beck. But we feel that a California driver's license bill would go a long way toward equity and avoiding future car confiscations, racial profiling, not only in LA, but the whole state of California. So please vote in favor of this resolution, and also ask your lobbying organizations, your staff, to lobby and pressure Governor Brown, because we will not tolerate another veto by Jerry Brown. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Antonio Bernabe, and is it Heidi Dominguez? Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Council. My name is Antonio Bernabe. I'm an organizer for low-income immigrant workers working for CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles. I'm here today just to support this proposal. We need a driver license for the people in Los Angeles. It's been many years of struggle to get it back to the community. It's been many years of struggle for families paying high fines, losing their cars, being affected in their economies. We need to drive to go to work. We need to drive to go to take the kids to school, to take somebody to the hospital in case of an emergency. So for us, it's really a necessity, and for the community too, because we need our roads to be safe. and also every driver in California to be checked by the DMV and to have the authority to drive and also to have an insurance in their cars. So it's time for you to support this, and it's time for the state to go in favor of AB 60 and give back the driver's license to the community of Los Angeles and the community of California. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, council members. My name is Nady Dominguez. I'm here on behalf of the California Immigrant Youth Justice Alliance, CIJA, in support of this resolution regarding AB 60. It's been a long fight for many of our families, but we're really happy to support the city of LA. It's standing on the right side of history, and we truly hope that Governor Brown will not ignore the broad support for this initiative. We thank you and we applaud the efforts of Councilmember Huizar, and we're very, very happy that the city of LA took a stand on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Parker, followed by Moses Alfaro.
Hi, thanks. I'm a board member of the South Central Neighborhood Council and a member of the Southern California Immigration Coalition. I just wanted to ask you 3 questions. One, given this unemployment crisis that we're having here and the difficulty of finding a job, how much harder is it to have a job without a car? Secondly, how important is it to have a job in order to feed your family or feed yourself? You know, immigration to this country is not really a choice. It's an economic necessity. It's a necessity of survival. After the free trade agreements and NAFTA have destroyed economies in other countries, people come here to feed themselves and feed their families. So my final and third question is just, doesn't it smell a little like racism with a hint of genocide when you deny people the ability to feed themselves or feed their families? Thank you.
Next.
Hello. Muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Moisés Alfaro.
Good morning. My name is Moisés Alfaro.
Soy miembro de Chirla.
I'm a member of Chirla.
Y represento a la comunidad jornalera del Valle de San Fernando.
And I represent the workers' community of the San Fernando Valley.
Nosotros como realmente trabajadores, obreros,
we as workers,
y que estamos esperando quién nos pueda llevar, digamos, a trabajar en las calles.
We have to wait on the streets to see who can take us to work.
Muchas veces necesitamos el automóvil para poder dirigirnos a nuestros trabajos.
Yeah, many times we need a car in order to go to work.
Y que realmente es bastante urgente para todos nosotros, porque nosotros también contribuimos a este gran país con todos nuestros esfuerzos.
This is very urgent for us because we also contribute to this country. We contribute to this country with our hard work.
Parte de nosotros hacemos todo lo posible de quedar bien con esta gran nación.
Yeah, part of us, we do the best to do a good job for this nation.
Muchas veces nosotros manejamos sin licencia.
Many times we drive without a license.
Con el motivo de poder superarnos y llevar a nuestras familias
in order
a las
to
escuelas,
improve our lives and take our families to
y a
school
nuestros centros de trabajo. Y es más,
and
que
to go to
también
work.
Tratamos de ponernos al día en las aseguranzas de nuestros carros para que así de esta forma no tengamos problemas. Solamente nos falta una cosa que es la licencia.
We also try to get our insurance in order just to have everything. The only thing that we are missing is one thing.
Apoyamos la AB60, parte de la comunidad jornalera.
We support the AB 60. The workers support the AB 60.
Agradecemos al Consejo de la Ciudad que nos apoye en este sentido por la licencia. Muchas gracias.
We thank City Council for supporting us in this issue, the driver's licenses.
Reyes Juarez, Yesenia Romo, and if we could have quiet in the chambers, quiet.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Reyes Juárez y vengo.
Good morning. My name is Reyes Juárez.
Vengo de la iglesia de Talpa.
I come from the Talpa Church.
Y represento a LA Boys.
I represent LA
Boys.
LA Voice.
Esta es una oportunidad para hablar de mi historia y de muchos padres que como yo estamos enfrentando día a día y es una realidad solo por no tener licencia de
Yeah,
manejar.
this is an opportunity to tell you about my story and what parents are confronting every day because we don't have a license.
Trabajando en la ciudad de Whittier, saliendo un fin de semana para mi casa,
I was working at the city of Whittier, and on the weekend I was just leaving work, going home,
me encontré con un retén.
and I found that there was a checkpoint.
Me pidieron aseguranza y registro, todo estaba en orden.
They asked me for my registration and for the insurance, and everything was in order.
El motivo del cual me bajaron del carro y ya no me dejaron subir solo fue por no tener licencia de manejar.
And the reason why they told me to leave my car and they didn't allow me to go back to my car was because I didn't have a driver's license.
El carro estuvo detenido por 30 días.
They retained my car for 30 days.
Y era una multa de $1,200.
And I had to pay a fine of $1,200.
Más $500 por no licencia de manejar.
Plus $500 for not having a driver's license.
Eso fue muy preocupante para mí. No pude sacar el carro.
That was very stressful for me. I wasn't able to get my car back.
Y luego, siendo un padre de 5 niños, imagínense la necesidad.
And because I have 5 children, can you imagine the necessity?
Tuve que dejar de trabajar por unos días.
I had to stop working for a few days.
En la noche uno de ellos se puso enfermo.
One of my children got sick at night.
Todo se complica para nosotros.
Everything gets very complicated for us.
Por eso les pido ahora que apoyen a esta ley B60 porque es bien importante para nosotros.
That's what I am asking you, to support this AB 60 because it's very important for us.
Es una necesidad y seguridad para todos.
It is a necessity and it's safety for all.
Gracias, concejal Huizar, y espero el apoyo de todos y estaremos agradecidos por esta ley.
Yeah,
Gracias.
thank you, Mr. Councilmember Huizar, and I hope I get the support from all of you. Thank you.
Okay, next. And followed by, and just so you know, in the future, once we begin the discussion, we don't take new public comment cards. But this time I will ask, I believe it's Mr. Gutierrez to come forward. Please come forward. I'm giving you a break here. Go ahead. No, you go ahead, then him.
Hi, good morning. My name is Yesenia. Good morning, council members. My name is Yesenia, and I am here as a resident of Boyle Heights, and I support this AB 60 resolution. Having drivers on the road with valid driver's license will reduce the very unneeded police checkpoints, the very unnecessary impoundment of cars, and the harassment and humiliation that comes along with the disadvantages of not having a valid driver's license. This resolution will allow those who don't have a form of identification to finally be able to obtain a form of government identification without putting themselves at risk of being scapegoated. And I would like to remind all of you council members that you guys are here at a level where you guys could do something, not right now like it is right now up in the Senate with immigration reform. You guys could actually do something and pass this resolution, and I would really hope that you guys do. It would help the community, and it would obviously help out a lot the economy. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Gutierrez. Or Reverend.
Buenos días y muchas gracias por darme la oportunidad de hablar.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Sé que lo que les estamos pidiendo no es una cosa rara ni imposible.
What we are asking you is not something that is uncommon or impossible.
En otras comunidades de fe en las que he servido,
in the faith community where I have served,
en el estado de Michigan, he visto que esta licencia es una realidad.
In the state of Michigan, I have seen that this driver's license is a reality.
Agradezco mucho que tomen esta resolución de apoyar esta ley.
I thank you very much for supporting this resolution, this law. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that said, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first I want to thank everyone who came out to speak in favor of passing this resolution, which will give support to AB 60, which says that the largest city in the state of California supports this, and hopefully the senators get to see this and support it as well, as will Governor Brown. That's really what we're doing here. And make no mistake, we've been here before through the efforts of our Council Member-elect Gil Cedillo, Assembly Member, Senator. We've attempted to pass this law before, but I think the time is now. The time is now because I think people have seen, just like in other states that have passed similar laws, it comes down to one thing, and that thing is safety. We have seen that here in the state of California, despite us having the most immigrants than possibly any other states are leading this effort before us because they've seen the importance of having safer streets. They know that there are people who want the training, want the knowledge, want that license so that everyone is safe. They're taking their kids to school, they're going to work, they are trying to make a living for themselves, but yet do not have that training and do not make our streets safe. So hopefully we pass this for the last time here in the City Council. Hopefully, this is the last time we have to say in the City of Los Angeles that we do believe that all people in the state of California, undocumented immigrants, should have our licenses to make our streets safer. So I want to thank everyone who came out today. I also want to thank Councilmember Reyes for seconding this motion, and I want to thank our council. In the past, we have supported similar legislation, and hopefully we will do that again today. So thank you again, and I want to express that the Daily News has supported this in an editorial. The LA Times has in the past, and as Councilmember-elect Cedillo has mentioned, our chiefs of police have supported in the past because they see the importance of having safer streets. It comes down to safer streets. Even if you take out the element of immigration, and whether you believe in immigration reform or not, take that away, and you just talk about people having the right to get trained to have their licenses, I'm sure you will agree with us that this is a good law. Thank you, and I ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you. Mr. Huizar, Mr. Reyes, Councilmember-elect, when you first brought this up, Gil Cedillo, I remember Chief Bratton was the chief of police at the time, and I was asked, do I support this? And I know that there's some other members of this council who served in law enforcement. I've now served 45 years in law enforcement. When we stop someone, the most important thing is to find identification. What this will do is help the street officers. This will help law enforcement identify who that person is, who they're talking to. While it will enhance safety on the roadways, while people will then have to go through a test process to make sure they're competent and qualified to drive a car, it'll help law enforcement in keeping our community safe to find that identification. And if they don't have that identification with them, then there's the question, who is this person? Are they wanted? Are they not wanted? Are they hiding something? So it benefits not only the motoring public and the roads, but it enhances safety. And I've supported this from the initial stage when you first approached me, which was many years ago when you were on the State Senate. So I joined my colleagues in supporting this. And it's interesting, I went to Resurrection Church during the campaign with Mr. Huizar, and to see the families that are there that are struggling, who want to find that American dream. And this is part of the American dream, to own a home, to have a car, to be part of the system. And that's what they're struggling for. So the whole immigration issue is something that the federal government needs to deal with, but what we need to deal with is the reality of the population in the city of Los Angeles and the state of California that needs to commute, and we don't have a very effective public transit system. We have a transit system, but it takes hours and hours to get to the destination. This will provide an opportunity to enhance safety, an opportunity to give them the ability to become part of the system, which they're struggling to do, at the same time help law enforcement keep our community safe. So I support this, and I hope this council supports this, and I want to thank my colleagues that brought this forward, Mr. Huizar and Mr. Reyes, and I know they've been struggling with this for a long, long time, as you, council member-elect, Senator Gil Cedillo, for the years that you've struggled to make this happen. This is good for California. This is good for Los Angeles. This is good for public safety. This is good for so many wonderful reasons. And I can't find a reason why someone would not want to support this measure to help our roads be safe and to help law enforcement do the job to keep our community safe. So congratulations, and hopefully we will pass this unanimous. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Les quiero decir gracias a las personas que han llegado ahora, que han luchado para la justicia, por nuestra gente aquí en Los Angeles, en California. Colleagues, I was just sharing that I want to thank the speakers that came here who have been struggling to achieve justice for those here in California. It is critical that we do support this. It is important that we continue in a path in which Senator Luis Alejo has allowed us to provide this resolution, support his efforts today. I thank those of the past who have tried to make this a reality. But the fact is, colleagues, the more we can support our citizenry, our residents, taxpayers, that's what's key in this bill. If you're a taxpayer, you should be able to have a license. And that allows us to have all the benefits we already spoke of. So I encourage and I vote. I encourage for a better economy, a spirit that should prevail in this state that's not based on meanness and taking away, but building up. Thank you.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Has any other state in the union approved this? Do we know? Does anybody in any department know if any other state has approved this or not? What does it say, John? What does it say?
Illinois, Maryland, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, and Washington.
Okay. We have Illinois, Maryland, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, and the state of Washington. So we have some states that have done it. We need to know that. Some states have taken it seriously. Look, talk is cheap. This has been going on forever and a decade. Everybody has a right who's here in Los Angeles to be part of the process and be part of the system. We in LA City are 40% immigrants. My parents were immigrants, white boy, but I know some of the aspects of what people go through. So frankly, the day has come yesterday. Talk is cheap, and of course our council should say yes and encourage the state to show the leadership that it should show for safety and fairness as we move forward in integrating everybody into this great country. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Alarcon.
Council members, of course I support this action and have supported it as a state senator for many years. The one thing I wanted to mention, though, is that a lot of people view this as a benefit for the immigrant. And this is not just a benefit for the immigrant. This is a benefit for everybody who traverses the streets and highways of California. Why? Because if immigrants are driving without licenses, if they're driving without insurance, you will be victimized. And all you have to do is raise your hand if you've ever been hit by an uninsured motorist. I did it, and it cost my son's life. And the uninsured motorist wasn't able to pay those medical bills that I had to pay out of pocket. The uninsured motorist, by the way, was not an illegal alien. The uninsured motorist was a native-born American from Alabama. And so the point I'm trying to make is that if all the undocumented drivers would get auto insurance, it would reduce the rates for insurance for everybody. And it would protect them so that if they do have an accident, and accidents do occur, there could be compensation to you. So this is not just about the immigrant. It is about how this affects our social being. The fact that we have 1 million undocumented people in LA County, if not more, LA City, I believe, that dictates that we're going to have these kinds of issues unless we allow them to have an identification like a driver's license. So this measure is a win-win-win. It's a win for the immigrants to be able to have the freedoms that should come with the fact that they are tax-paying members of our society. It's a win for others on the streets, because the streets will be safer, because the immigrants will more likely get better training and be better drivers on the street. and it's a win for the general population because if there is an accident, they're more likely to have insurance to cover the damage that occurred. So for all those reasons, this is a bill for all the people of California. It's not for a specific class. It's for all of us. It improves our quality of life. And so with that, I want to commend Gil Cedillo, who has been the champion on this issue for so many years, taken a lot of shots for it. But, you know, good ideas cannot die if you have leaders who are fearless in fighting for those things that need to be said when other people don't want to hear it. Gil has been that kind of leader on this issue, and we thank him so much for his leadership. So with that, I urge your support.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much. I rise to support this. 232 years ago, 44 people walked 9 miles from the Mission San Gabriel to the banks of what would be the Los Angeles River, and the Pueblo of Los Angeles was born. 1850, we became a state. It has grown, it's diverse, it's important. But this effort, and a tough guy from Roosevelt High, real tough, all Eastern League, he worked and worked and worked it hard. And now we're at a point, hopefully the governor signs this. It's very important for all to have it. I think, Mr. Zion, as you articulated, as a man who was in law enforcement for many years, and as Mr. Alarcon so heartfelt spoke of your personal experience in this situation. So it's a good day. It's a great day in L.A., and let's make it a great day in California. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Garcetti to close.
Thank you very much, and I think everything that needs to be said has been said, but it hasn't been said by everybody, so I guess here I am. I just want to thank everybody who's risen and spoken so articulately as why Los Angeles has so much to gain from this. Los Angeles has so much to gain this year, not only from this legislation, but immigration reform in general. We have taxes to gain. We have identification and public security to strengthen. We have the full integration of our social fabric here in Los Angeles. And at the local level, we want to focus on what's local, those basic problems that we need solved. And the only way we can do that is when everybody has an identification, whether that's what we've done in the past with matricula consular cards, whether it's what we're going to do with a city identification card, or whether it's statewide ones. I want to thank Gil Cedillo for fighting that great fight and continuing to do it. I was at a bill signing ceremony where it actually became law, but suddenly one day then it was gone. So it's almost like a Groundhog Day. But the Groundhog Day, even the movie, ends well in the end. Each time you repeat it, we finally get, in that case, fall in love. But let's make this happen. And I hope this will be part of a year of immigration changes in this country. Los Angeles is probably the best example of a city of immigrants. It always has been. And we're not here to resolve national issues, but we're here to speak out on them, to use our voice, and to say that our strength economically and our strength in the future will be from making sure that we have a lot of Americans here, a lot of Americans that are here in Los Angeles who understand their roles and responsibility as citizens, and that pathway includes having that identification and getting an AB 60 passed. So thank you. Let's get this done. Adelante. Thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, next. If we could go to Mr. Alarcon, and Mr. Clerk, you've been informed of what it is we want to do at this juncture, correct? From an item that was on yesterday's agenda. Mr. Alarcon.
Yeah, Mr. President, I'm requesting reconsideration on item 3.
That's Council File
agenda.
12-1670.
Okay, this vote is on reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay,
and, Mr. President, if I may, that's in regards to the Prop K assessment.
Okay, so now we can vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, forthwith on that item. Mr. Cedillo, have a good day. All right, let's go. Have you received the amendment on item 3, Mr. Clerk? Has that been circulated?
Mr. President, motion 3A has been circulated, sir, yes.
Okay, Mr. Garcetti, I'm just going to take up item 3A. Okay, on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay.
And, Mr. President, that's as amended, 3A as amended.
Yes, Mr. Labange.
Could I do a special introduction right now? I'm going to have you do the introduction.
Okay, Mr. Labange.
Special introduction. I want to introduce the mayor-elect of the 13th District. To introduce the great class that's here.
What grade are you guys?
Third.
It's great.
Today we have the third grade of Temple Israel of Hollywood. We've got Grace and John here. Is that right? And why don't you guys all stand up?
Good job. Stand up.
My mother went to Temple Israel of Hollywood growing up as a little girl, and it's great to see all of you here. Welcome to your city hall. You got a great council member in Tom Labange, and thank you guys for being here. Give them a round of applause. Temple Israel of Hollywood.
Welcome. Okay, on item 3 we just voted on, I just located a card on that item, so let's vote on reconsideration on item 3. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. You know, it's fascinating about all this stuff that's coming out of about the Coliseum. Maybe you might have read Sunday's newspaper. The museum, the Natural History Museum, just finished a 5-year renovation on the grounds. And maybe you might have heard about the space shuttle that came to L.A. to be parked on the grounds. And while all those things were going on, nothing was being discussed about the parking that's the linchpin of this agreement at the Coliseum. So the museum gets renovated, a new attraction is put into the museum's inventory, and the Coliseum Commission decides they want to give the parking to USC. There's some brilliance there.
Okay, now let's vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, I believe the forthwith, I believe the amendment on item 4 has been circulated.
Yes, sir. Item 4A.
Okay, let's vote on item 4. Mr. Reyes, did you want to speak, or we're just going to vote on this? Item 4, as amended.
Yes, I'd like to continue my amendment. Would that be okay? Can we do that?
You want to continue?
Well, I need to address my amendment one more time. So can you hold it on the desk?
Yeah, we realize it better be done quickly. Okay. Item 13, Arnold Sachs. Does Mr. Sachs have time? No. You have 1 minute, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. While Mr. Reyes holds item number 4 relating to the budget report, this mentions that the estimated total debt service cost is $1.36 billion to be repaid on each maturity date from collected general fund revenues and taxes. But it doesn't say A and B. It doesn't say what the payment will be, and it doesn't say how long the payment will be. Now, we've heard multiple discussions regarding budgets. We have a structural deficit. We have a budget deficit. This refers to the debt service, which is a structural deficit. $1.36 billion. Where does that money come from? From general services or general fund. So what programs are going to be cut in the future or eliminated or downgraded to make these payments?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, we'll now move to item 17, which was held up by a public comment card, but Mr. Sachs has no more time. So on item 17, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
General public comment.
Mr. Reyes, are we ready on yours? We'll go to item 4, Mr. Reyes.
Yes, colleagues, on 4A, I wanted to verbally amend what's before you. The $500,000, I wanted to move to the GRID program, but it is my understanding that the GRID program is fully funded in the 2013-2014 budget. Therefore, request that the 4A be awarded to place $500,000 in the GCP for Alley River projects to be administered by the mayor's office.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, if I could have, I think it's Mr. Garcetti, quickly work on this amendment for item 5. I don't know who else is working on that with you. Mr. Krikorian?
Forthwith on number 4, please.
Forthwith on item 4. Now we'll go to general public comment. Arnold Sachs, John Walsh, Daniel Jones, followed by Henry Marine. If you guys could please come forward. Mr. Jones, you're closest, so you just go first. But I want Arnold Sachs, John Walsh, and Henry Marine. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Jones. Did anybody know when lame duck season started? A year ago. That's not funny. Tomorrow at 2:30 p.m., I'm going to talk to the Speaker of the Assembly of the State of California. I'm in a bit of a conundrum. The mayor-elect for the city of Los Angeles, Mr. Skidmark on the Constitution, swore to uphold the Constitution 5 years, 11 months, and a few weeks ago. People seem to think, I don't know, maybe you do or maybe you don't, but I wake up with the memory. He got by the first time in the city of Los Angeles, not by me, obviously. Now he's going to walk in and he's going to, well, he's going to raise his right hand. What's he going to do? He doesn't have the moral high ground to even be in office. Every one of you know that, too. State Militia Part 1. A person who, after publication of the proclamation authorized by Section 143, joins, participates, or takes part in any rebellion, insurrection, turmoil, or riot, or who is party to any conspiracy or combination to resist by force the execution of the laws, or who wish to resist or aid in resisting the execution of the process in any county or city declared to be in a state of insurrection. That's my constitutional obligation right there. That's state law. Federal law, Article 14, Section 4. Anybody who participates in an occupation shall not be questioned, period. That period is all about being a civil country or what's it all about, Corporal? I'll be seeing the mayor later.
Okay, Mr. Sachs, followed by John Walsh.
Thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. Yeah, it was pretty fascinating. Again, another fascinating meeting, and I certainly appreciate Mr. Alarcon's comments regarding having a license and having insurance. What they mean one to the other doesn't make any sense. But it was really interesting yesterday that Mr. Alarcon would carry the torch for ethics regarding something Mr. Reyes did. This is from the Foothill Extension News of December 2009. It goes on to mention, and Mr. Labange, board members for the Metro Gold Line Foothill Extension: Keith Hanks, Council Member, City of Azusa; Doug Tessitore, Council Member, City of Glendora; Ed Reyes, Second Vice Chair, Council Member, City of Los Angeles. Remember, 2009, John Vasana, Sam Pedroza, Bill Bogard, Laura Laramundi, Daniel Evans, and the Executive Officer Habib Balian, who's also, by the way, an Assistant Prosecuting Attorney for the County of Los Angeles. This, by the way, is an agenda from Metro. Oh, well, here's an amendment from Director Villaraigosa, Molina, Fasana, and Tanovich Lowenthal. Whereas existing law establishes the Los Angeles to Pasadena Metro Blue Line Construction Authority, now known as the Metro Gold Line Foothill Extension Construction Authority. How did it change? They amended, no, they didn't amend the state law. What did they do? They revised state law. It's amazing. Ethics in the city council. Then we have, who knows, more votes, more ethics. It's a joke.
Okay, Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Marine.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Go there, there's some new posts. Incidentally, this is a whole new world. Psychotics like me have been saying, the FBI is after you guys, the FBI is after you guys. And you sat there with that smirk on your face. But remember, he who smirks or she who smirks last smirks best. The FBI raided the Latino Caucus offices and Ron Calderon yesterday. It's just the beginning, and the FBI leaked the information that the target is Los Angeles. Okay? We haven't had an FBI raid in Sacramento since Shrimpgate. Who remembers Shrimpgate besides me? You're in big trouble. You're in absolutely big trouble. You can have your big party. We'll have a big party here Friday. Van Nuys, cake. Please, you're all invited. The final farewell party for Antonio Villaraigosa as he leaves with no job, no wife, no nothing. I'm telling you, it's the final farewell. Gil Cedillo was treated as rudely. I must give you credit. You treated Gil Cedillo yesterday as rudely as you ever treated me. You're equal opportunity pigs. And let me tell you right now that the FBI is working, and who are they going after? They're going after John Perez. He was so scared when the FBI showed up, he tried to jump out the window, John Perez, but he's so obese he couldn't squeeze through the window. I'm telling you who they're after. They're after Perez. That's why they're here. Everybody knows that. And Perez, and I'm telling you about Calderon. He is like a canary. He is singing. I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to figure out who here is the FBI agent, because the FBI agent has people in this building.
Hollywood Highlands. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Marine.
Good morning. We got 17 days left for the members of this council to account for the money sheltered from the pay of others and me for the past 20 years. Now, looks like we got a history of members coming in this council, coming into service and leaving service,
and not accounting for the money they sheltered, and not informing the liability, their successors of the liability that they've left on them for over the last 20 years. Now, I think it's probably about 5 of you leaving, and you only got 17 days to not become a statistic of another person who's been taking our public funds and just another no account. Now, we notice that Mike Fuhrer is coming back. He took our money. He didn't account for it. Mayor Villaraigosa, he took our money. He didn't account for it. Now, we're going to have somebody be first to do something different. So Garcetti, hopefully, he's going to come here, and he's going to make you all... We're going to have to change the name of the city council because he's going to be as black as his face back there. Look at him. Looks like Mr. Wesson with glasses. So Mr. Wesson's going to have to change with Mr. John Ferrero created this terrible habit of taking money, sheltering it, not accounting for it, giving it to unions, and just disrupting the union and city trust plans with MOUs. Make us others understand y'all can do what y'all want anytime. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Mr. Krikorian, you're extremely bright. Maybe you can translate that for me. That concludes general public comment. Let's now go to item 5. Mr. Garcetti, I've got 3 public comment cards on that, and I'll go there first. I think I have Stephanie Lane, Magdalena Sierra, Angela McLean. Please come forward. Please come forward.
And Mr. President, for clarification, the Housing Community Economic Development Committee communication has been submitted and circulated for Council's consideration.
Sorry,
Go right
what
ahead.
The amendment is there any way we could get it read first? It's posted where? I'm sorry, where is it posted?
Please go ahead. What, excuse me?
I was just requesting if we could get a copy of the amendment because we haven't seen it.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. No, why don't you state your piece, then you'll see what the amendment is. So let's go.
All right, well, thank you. My name is Stephanie Lane. I'm with Good Jobs LA. I live in CD1. I'm here today with colleagues and allies to support the enforcement amendments that are in the report that are changes to the foreclosure registry ordinance that were first introduced last June, a year ago. We also support some new introductions that happened this morning that will increase fees for complete cost recovery and additional inspections that are needed on blighted foreclosed properties. This is 1 year later from when we originally introduced these amendments. Not one bank has been fined for the blight that we found on hundreds of properties across the city. And not only has the city left millions on the table, but blight costs the city in extra services and neighborhoods and lost value and safety. We've been waiting a year for these amendments to the enforcement program to come back to council, and we hope we can move on these quickly. This past weekend, the New York Times did a story on foreclosures, and the author wrote that banks are becoming less inclined to take over ownership of properties in order to avoid the maintenance and upkeep that we are asking them to do. We need to be serious about holding banks accountable to the messes they've made in our neighborhoods and not run to their rescue or make it easier for them to skirt responsibility. Yes, we know the foreclosure crisis is abating in many parts of LA during this housing cycle, but in communities we work in and for many of the communities you represent, this remains an urgent issue. This report has allocated money for staff, and reasonable fees have been proposed to cover the cost of future inspections. So we urge you to make sure the final version of this ordinance comes up for a vote as soon as possible. And we implore you to remind the city staff who work for you that this is important to voters in your districts. We need enforcement now, and we need you to get the city to work now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sierra.
Buenos días, miembros del concilio.
Council members.
Yo vengo, hace un año yo vine a hablar aquí.
1 year ago I came to speak here.
Referente a las casas y los bancos y los foreclosure.
Regarding houses, banks, and foreclosures.
Okay. Solamente quiero decirles que los bancos siguen haciendo de las suyas.
I just want to tell you that banks continue doing whatever they want.
Y lo más peor de todo, que esas casas que el banco está recogiendo, los que venden droga las están utilizando para refugio de ellos.
Yeah, the worst thing that is happening is that the houses that the banks are taking over are being used by drug dealers.
Y lo más peor es que están utilizando a los niños.
And the worst is that they're also using children
para su negocio.
For their business.
Ya sea que los pongan a vender su droga o para consumirlos.
Yeah, they're using children for selling drugs or for them to consume them.
Pero siempre son los niños.
But the children are always the victims.
Y los niños es el futuro de este país. Por eso es que yo vengo para que se pongan firmes con los bancos sobre las casas y los foreclosure.
The children are the future of this country, and that is what I come. I want you to be more firm with the foreclosures and the banks.
Porque el crimen ha progresado debido a esas casas abandonadas.
Because of the abandoned houses, the crime has increased.
Por favor, es todo lo que les pido.
That's all I want to ask you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLean?
Good morning. My name is Angela McLean. I'm a member of District 8, and I'm here on behalf of ACE, Alliance for California Community Empowerment. I'm very concerned about the blighted properties that are in my own neighborhood. The gangs we're already dealing with, the drug dealers we're already dealing with, and these vacant properties are just a place for them to house their activities. It's very fearful sometimes to drive through your own neighborhood to go home, and you have to pass these blighted properties. It's brought down the property value of everyone that lives in our community. And just a year ago, my home was in foreclosure. And because of ACE and what they've been doing, working with the banks and working with City Council, I was able to save my home. But I'm here on behalf of those that are still in the struggle, those that are still in the fight, trying to make a house a home. If small hinges swing big doors, isn't it time for us to make the banks be accountable? Why aren't any fines being enforced, and why aren't, this has been on the books for 2 years. Why hasn't anything been done? It doesn't make sense that no one is above the law, so why are banks able to get away with this? It's just not fair. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, everybody, for not only helping get this established. Mr. Parks and I, a few years ago, were in front of folks who, in South Los Angeles, had homes that the banks had taken over, that the banks were neglecting. The banks were acting. We've done a couple things around here. One was to make sure they didn't evict people illegally who were paying their rent, first of all, in both apartment buildings and homes. I told a story recently in Echo Park, the second place we went to. I had a constituent who was being told, get out today and here's $1,000, or get out tomorrow with nothing, which was illegal. We made that illegal. Over 100 cities have now copied that. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have copied that, so we've made a real impact due to your activism, and I appreciate that. That same guy who we kept in his apartment in Echo Park was able to stay there, save enough, and he recently bought that apartment building. I mean, that's the American dream right there. But here I've been as frustrated as you. My staff has been working very, very hard on the enforcement, because there's two aspects of this law. One of it was to be able to hold banks accountable for the violations they've done. That has led to 2 court cases we have right now against, I think, Deutsche Bank and U.S. Bank. They're in court right now, and our city attorney took them to court based on this law, us passing that, and getting those violations. But what we know is we don't want to have to wait for the violations to be brought to us. We don't need to build that case. We want to have that be proactive. And we've been working through the details of this for a long time, sharing the same frustrations. So today this will help move things forward. But one of the things I want to ask to include with this is to amend this to have staff report back on the feasibility of staff providing habitability inspections of REO-occupied single-family properties and NOD-occupied properties. So what does that mean in English? What it means is, what can we do to make sure that they get proactive inspections, that they don't just do a drive-by, but they're actually able to go in. We know right now you can go in, but you usually have to get a letter. By the time that happens, maybe everything's fixed up, and that's good. We want things to be fixed up, but we also want accountability. So a bank is just like a property owner. We're not treating them any worse or any better. If a property owner doesn't take care of his or her property, we fine them because it brings down the whole neighborhood. A bank, if it's a good bank, is taking care of that. If they're a bad bank, they have to be held accountable as well. And I want to be clear, this is not to try to raise money. This is to try to get our buildings in proper condition. And I know sometimes we see other programs, we say, oh, they're making all this money. That's not the point of this program. This point is to make sure that blocks don't fall apart, that streets don't fall apart, that neighborhoods don't fall apart, that homes don't become places of prostitution and drug dealing and gangs taking them over. One home can destroy an entire block, and one block going down can take the whole street, and one street going down can take the whole neighborhood. So let's not go backwards. Let's move this forward, get this rolling. But I'd also like that staff report to have the staff and fiscal impacts. If we need to change the fee structure to be able to get in there, let's look at doing that. Let's not hold this up in the meantime, but let's see what we can do to take the next step as we go forward with this. So thank you so much, everybody, for your support on this over the years, and thank you especially to the activists who have made this possible. Thank you.
Mr. Alarcon. Mr. Alarcon, you're on the queue.
Actually, I want to commend Mayor-elect Garcetti for his leadership in this item. Although in the original implementation, we didn't anticipate the cost burdens that would be incurred by building and safety in particular, and so this corrects that shortcoming and will ensure that we are able to inspect foreclosed buildings. There are a number of amendments that I included that have to go toward full cost recovery. So as I leave office, I'm hoping that, Mr. President, that you will make note that there may be opportunities for us to gain additional cost recovery, particularly for police and fire services, as well as the city attorney. So my amendments are asking for report backs from various departments to the HCED committee to ensure that we are on track with our estimations for the costs of this project so that we can then obtain full cost recovery. Other than that, this is a great idea, and as we move forward, I hope it will remove a lot of blight from the city of Los Angeles. And again, we commend Councilman Garcetti and now Mayor-elect Garcetti. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Englander to close.
Yes, thank you very much. And this is absolutely terrific public policy and good legislation. One of the things we've been doing is we looked at this idea when it was coming forth and being worked out, and the idea of what we're doing with the data. And so we piloted a program. We're actually launching it next week. We've been working for about the last 4 months on it. And we're taking the data from the foreclosure registry and the assessor's file, and as banks then file for foreclosure, or people are filing for foreclosure or REO properties, we then take that data feed and we're sending it through what's called the Palantir system that LAPD uses for predictability and where crime is going to happen. And so rather than waiting for, as Mr. Garcetti has stated, that one house can ruin a block and that block can ruin a community, oftentimes we don't know about it. We don't know, even with the foreclosure coming online, that home is going to be vacated, or people are going to break in to steal a copper, or people are going to move in and have squatters and all kinds of other issues. But we know about it now. We've got a live data feed through Palantir being mapped out with all the statistical information live coming into our police division. So our senior lead officers and all of those folks from Neighborhood Watch can then know on their block, oh, it just popped up that we've got a foreclosure. Oh, it just popped up that those people have now vacated the home and it's vacant. So we can keep an eye on it. We can do regular drive-bys and extra patrols around that community to make sure that there's not people moving in or having parties in vacant homes, which is another issue that we've experienced as well. So we're going to be doing active policing and proactive policing on those particular homes from the foreclosure registry, taking it a step further. We're piloting that now in the Northwest San Fernando Valley. We hope to take it citywide. And this is another tool then to create and enforce that make sure that people are registering, in fact, and not skating the system, and getting more information into Palantir through LAPD, through working with the housing department to get that information. So I absolutely support this. I think it's going in the right direction. It's how we utilize the information moving forward, which is also critically important. And can't wait to vote yes on this in moments. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Where does that bring us, Mr. Clerk? Wait, forthwith, and Mr. Krikorian, was item 13 forthwith as well. So where are we, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred. Next.
The desk is clear.
Okay, announcements. Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just yesterday, I got a text from my Chief of Staff, Don Liu, and he said that yesterday was his 25th anniversary of being a father to Becca Liu, who celebrated her 25th birthday. Happy birthday, Becca. We love you.
Camera, could you get a shot towards me? Come on.
2-5.
That's the birthday girl. I can only dream of what 25 was like. Mr. Labange.
I want to wish the Kings success tonight. They have a game at Staples Center. Is that right, Mitch? Kings are playing tonight.
I thought they were playing Thursday.
They're not playing tonight, Mitch? They're playing tonight.
Okay,
Thursday. All
Tom,
right. Wish them 9 every day. I'll sit back down there.
We'll save it. Okay. Could everyone please rise in the council chambers? Please rise. Please rise. Quiet. Adjourning motions. Mr. Labange.
Tragically, a young 26-year-old passed just this last night. She was much loved by her family. On Sunday, she passed. She was young, energetic, and she was called. So we want to adjourn in memory of Lisa Scott, who is the niece of one of my deputies, Sharon Shapiro. Lisa Scott, tragically called at a young age.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Other adjourning motions? Okay, this council is adjourned.